Hello everybody, and welcome to another Fundamental Games game playthrough. Today we're playing Squire for Hire. I've actually got both sets of Squire for Hire in front of me on the digital tabletop right now, but today we're talking about Squire for Hire, the original. So that's going to be the cards that are represented on the top here, and just with this original Squire for Hire image. This is by John Merchant. Alright, so let me tell you a little bit about it first. Your day has finally come. You're a famous adventurer. Oh wait, no you're not. You've been hired by a famous adventurer to be their squire. When your hero completes quests, defeats baddies, and takes all the credit, they also earn loot, which gets you the great honor of carrying it. This means that you're in charge of choosing items you think will be the most useful to your hero, and also which ones to give up to complete a story card. So, we're going to quickly set this up and show you exactly how to play the original Squire for Hire. Like I said, those are on the top. And we have a choice of 5 squires, one which I believe this Luna one of them came as a Kickstarter exclusive, and then there's 4 others that came with the base game. And then the expansion, which we're not playing with right now, and it'll be in a separate video, is called Mystic Ruins with lots of other cool cards. Alright, so what happens is, in this game, there are going to be 14 cards full of loot. So you'll see here there's all different kinds, and they are called different types. There's weapons, there's armor, there's treasure, there's magic, and then there's junk, which is the gray stuff. So all those are going to be in a pile, and on the opposite side of each of those cards is a different type of activity or adventure. So we have encounters and dungeons and quests to go through. So what we're going to do is group those together, give them a randomized shuffle, and set the game up. Now the game sets up really easily. You just put one card to the left, one card to the right, face up, and I get 2 cards face up. I'm playing a solo game. In a multiplayer game, each player would get 2 cards face up, and they would pick which one they want to keep, and then the second one would be given away to a different player. Alright, so what I have to do with these 2 cards is choose one card to cover up the other. So if we look at the solo rules here, deal 1 random Squire card to each player, blah blah blah, 2 loot cards, and I have to flip the top 2 cards to either side of the deck so they're loot side up, which I did, and begin creating my board. So what I have to do with these 2 is rotate them in such a way that one card completely covers parts of another card. Let's just make sure I set it up right. Flip the top 2 cards to either side of the deck. Complete story cards. In solo play through only 1 round of story cards. Okay, I think I'm missing something here. Oh, solo, I think I just pick which card I want to keep, and the other one goes to a discard pile or is removed from the game. We're going to play that for this game. So I'm going to say, with my Squire, I like to have magic scrolls, so I'm going to keep my scroll and get rid of this. I'll take that out of the game this game. Alright, and so I can position this in any way I wish. I will do it like so. So then, how the game works is each round I must read the card that's up here. So the dungeon says, funding is needed to pay a group of mercenaries to protect the town from an invading skeleton army. Show that you have the funds, or pay them a deposit now. So if I want to defeat this card, I have to have 3 treasure on my board, my play area. Right now I only have 2 because I have 2 yellow items, or I have to cover up 1 valuable to defeat this dungeon. So I'd have to cover up that ring or that treasure. And so I could pick either one of these cards to cover up one of my treasures with in order to acquire or to accomplish this dungeon card. So let's say I want to take this card here At the very minimum, I have to cover up that treasure. So I could cover that treasure up with this treasure. Basically, the rule for covering up is you have to cover up enough tiles to fit the item that you're covering it up with. So I couldn't place my sword like this. I'd have to place it on 3 tiles of the prior tile. So I'm going to place it like this to try to maximize my space, which means I've now covered up a valuable, so I'm allowed to flip over this dungeon tile and move on to the next one. Next, we have contracted a deadly blight. Dirge, the local alchemist, will sell you the cure for a price. Now keep in mind, I'm going throughout this game with a goal to earn 25 points, and I earn those points by having uncovered weapons, armor, magic, valuables, or potions, as well as having identical items that touch and experience for item combinations on my Squire card, and I lose points for revealed junk items. So just keeping that in mind as we're playing. For this quest, I need to have 2 treasure worth on my card or lose a potion. And I have 2 treasures on my card, so I'm allowed to accomplish this free of charge basically. And now I want to acquire something. Now with my special card, if I have a book next to a scroll or a magic orb next to a scroll, I get extra points. Neither of these have a book, but I do like having the scroll, so we're going to take that. Now I could have the scroll next to it here, but that wouldn't quite work. And I don't want to cover up that scroll. So, because I don't have to cover up an item this time, I could technically place this right here. Alright, and then that gets flipped over, and we'll continue on. So we've got any noise will alert the guards to your attempts to steal the goods. Drops the armor that clangs inside your bag to avoid detection. Do I have any armor? I do not. So what happens if I have no armor and there's an encounter card? Well, let's take a look. When you use an item to complete the story, the new card must completely cover the used. Quest and encounters are flipped at the end of your turn whether they're completed or not. If a dungeon cannot be completed, the next player can attempt it. Dungeons are flipped if completed or if all players complete it. If you run out of story cards, you'd reshuffle. In solo play, though, only 1 round of story cards, you do not reshuffle. So basically what happens is I didn't defeat this dungeon, so it still has to go, but it has to cover up either the left or the right side. So I can choose to cover up left or right. I'm going to cover up the left because I like having that scroll there. And we move on to the next card. A giant forest troll blocks my path. A spell might trick the troll into letting you pass, or you can give up your clanky armor to sneak by. So what am I going to do? I have to have 2 magic points or give up an armor. Now I do have 2 magic points. I actually have 3 magic points, so I don't have to give those up. I already have them. I'm smart enough to defeat the troll. So what I'm going to do is take this thing here and try to find a way to get it onto my board adjacent to a scroll. So if I were to put it here, I'd partially cover up a sword, which is an illegal action, I believe. But I could do something like that. Now I'm going to cover up 2 trash items, which I think is a good thing, and have that adjacent to my scroll. So we'll take that. So then this gets flipped over and I have to cover up something. So I will cover up these. And now I'm in a dungeon. Your party ventures into a powerful sorcerer's lair. Their illusions can lead you into dangerous traps unless you have the magic to protect yourself. So do I have the magic to protect myself? Why, I do have 1, 2, 3 magic items. 4. So I'm protected. So I automatically get to defeat this challenge. And so how can I maximize my potential points? Well, we could take this one for now and cover it up like that. There we go. Now we must put that somewhere. We'll drop that there and encounter A magical barrier seals off a hidden tomb. You may be able to dispel it by destroying one of your magic items. So in this time, I have to destroy something. I could destroy a scroll, or I could destroy a magic book, or that's my two options, really. So we're actually going to destroy this scroll I fought so hard to protect, but we'll get another scroll because of it. So we're going to take this armor here, destroy that scroll to defeat the encounter, and this has to go in the empty spot. Next, we dropped our hero's weapon into a chasm. Leave the weapon behind to carry on to the dungeon's treasures, or turn back to retrieve it. Alright, I must lose a weapon if I want to proceed. That is quite possible, because I could just lose a weapon with a weapon right here. That's a good deal. We'll do it. So we got to take this card and cover up something. Let's cover this up because I want that magic book. Alright, we have another quest. You trigger a trap in some old ruins and poison arrows fly your way. The right armor or spell may protect you. So if I have 2 armor, I'm protected. I have 2 armor, so I am protected. And so I can just play this one of these cards. So I do have a scroll, and if I can position this magic book next to that scroll, that will be beneficial to me. Alright, a group of bandits have trapped you in a nearby cave and demand a toll to let you go free. So I have to have 2 weapons or lose a valuable. I have a sword and a bow and arrow, so I have no problems with this. I've given my adventurer enough gear to help him defeat the troll. And so what are we going to take for that? Well, these both have 2 junk, but this one has more stuff on the card, so this one looks like a better choice right now. And we'll just slap this down here. And the second last quest, oh no, that one gets used. We'll drop that there. The final adventure dungeon. Your party must defeat a fearsome Darkwing to take its hoard of loot. The raven-like creature may be distracted by throwing coins to catch its eye. So I can shoot it down if I have 3 weapons worth, or I have to sacrifice a treasure. I have 1, 2, 3 weapons worth or more, so I'm well equipped to cover that. And can I find a way to get this next to that thingy? Let's find out. I believe I have to get at least 1 item onto a tile, so that would be illegal if I did that. So my final move will be to do this. Or if I do that, I can cover up a junk. Covering up a junk is better than not covering up a junk, so that's my final move. Alright, scroll back to the rulebook. Did we play legally? Let's find out. You may also completely cover any other items or junk if your bag doesn't have enough spaces to fit at least 1 complete item from the new loot card. Put the card back and you end your turn. So I think we did all that correctly. How to win. Once all loot cards are placed, I must tally my score. And my goal is to defeat 25 points more in solo to get hired. Keeping in mind I'm not playing with the Mystic Ruin expansion. So I get 1 point for all the different types, but then I get bonuses which I didn't really pay attention to for items that are identical that touch, and for combinations, and -1 for junk. So I brought along this handy dandy counter to keep track of my points. And we're just going to reset it to 0 and scroll in. So first we're going to add up individual points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Apologize if I miscounted something there, but we're going to go with 24 as my base. And then we're going to remove junk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So with my junk, it devalues my entire backpack. Kind of a messy backpack, so I'm down to 12 points. Now I get bonus points. If I have a scroll with a book or a scroll with a orb, I get points. Scroll with an orb is worth 2 points. So this next to here is worth 2, and a scroll next to a book is worth an extra point. And then the last thing, which I didn't pay attention to at all, and I realized that was a mistake. If I had a potion next to a potion, I would get a point. If I had a sword next to a sword, I would get a point, etc., etc. I don't have any of that, so my final score is 15. Am I the right Squire to hire? It doesn't appear so, because I didn't even get close to 25. And that's it. That is a 18 card game. 14 of the cards are the loot cards / adventure cards. I love how they double used the purpose of the cards for this game. And then the other 4 cards of this 18 card game are the Squires themselves, with the 19th bonus card for the original Kickstarter that came out last year. So really cool how you can use all these cards in different combinations and layouts to put on top of one another, cover up one another, try to put adjacent to one another to try to earn points. So I like how John Merchant put this little game together, just such a small concept with such big replayability potential. So that was cool. The artwork is pretty neat. It's kind of got that, juvenile teenage book kind of heroes or squires on them, which is catchy and kind of helps you get a broader audience. It's not dark fantasy with blood and gore and super powered heroes and half-naked women. So I like the anthropomorphic characters and just the cute colorful images that they have on there. And then the loot cards themselves, just the way they're laid out, they are representative of their size, which is neat, and the different color coding, once you get used to it, works out well. So I like this little game, Squire for Hire. I've played it a couple times now. This is the first time I've played it with a live recording, so I tend to double check my rules and just validate I'm doing things right. And what I plan to do next is actually play Mystic Ruins. So what I'll be doing in the next video is taking all of these in a deck and playing with one of these heroes. And then if I get real excited, I might do a combination of them, but we'll see. For now, this has been the original Squire for Hire, and coming up in a future video will be Squire for Hire, Mystic Ruins. Thank you for watching another Fundamental Games game playthrough.